I've got into Formula One. So I'm a new fan of Formula One, and tonight I wanted to talk to you about the British Grand Prix that happened this weekend. As I'm a new fan, there's a lot that I don't know in terms of all of the strategy, how to handle weather conditions, exactly what's going on, and all of the history of all the teams and all the drivers, etc, etc, etc. So you can imagine that my perspective is like, wow, cars go fast, this driver's performing amazingly, and I know some things from the recent races. So I thought it'd be interesting to share my perspective. You can choose whether you want to see that, of course. But I'll share what I thought and some key moments that I wrote down. These are moments that I wrote down after the race. So I enjoyed it on Sunday with my mum. We were sitting next to each other watching. It was free on Channel 4, so if you're in the UK, you can go onto Channel 4, like whatever it's called, like the playback, and watch it totally for free, which is very exciting. I think other countries always have them for free or for a lower price. There are certain countries that are free, I'm pretty sure. I don't remember. But otherwise for us, it's not free usually. So this one, go watch it if you haven't, because it was very, very, very entertaining race. Like, hand on heart, so entertaining. Like, I was so thrilled, and that's specifically why I'm going to speak about it today. Not just because it's my home Grand Prix. Yeah, I will be kind of giving my perspective and the events that I wrote down, which I wrote down after the race. So yeah, so that's the plan. Also, I've got it on the most sketchy notepad, because I thought it would also be kind of funny to just keep it written in a notepad and then share it with you guys. So that's what we're going to do. That's how it's going to be tonight. And yeah, share your opinions as we go. I'm sure a lot of us have similar opinions, but as I say, because I'm a new fan, there's a lot that I don't know. So if you can supplement it with why something happened, or if I got something wrong, please feel free to correct me. But also, yeah, if you're new fans, maybe my perspective will help you learn a little bit more or see what other similar fans are thinking. So the British Grand Prix was this Sunday. I watched it with my mom. I took these notes after the race. So what that means is I was sitting there hyped as hell, enjoyed the race so much, was yapping with you guys in the Discord, and I was like, I need to just reflect. I need to write down my key moments, what I really enjoyed watching, what I thought made the race fascinating, could be kind of useful for when I want to talk to the stream, to remember what moments happened, because when you're watching, you're like, oh my god, and now that's happened, and now that's happened. Essentially, if you haven't yet seen it, which I'm sure most of you have, if you're F1 fans, but we also have non-F1 fans here, if you've seen it, you would know that there was something happening almost all of the race. Obviously, there were a lot of safety cars, which we'll get onto. I will try and explain some things as I'm going. If you're a new fan or you don't watch F1, you might not know exactly what everything means. Also, call it out and I'll try to explain what I do know. For now, I'll just yap, and then we'll explain as we go properly. Yeah, lots of safety cars, so not everything happening in those moments, but as soon as the race kicked off, and as we know, under some safety car moments, there were things happening still. So yeah, I just thought it was amazing. Had to write it down. Today, I sat and watched most of it again. I got like 60% of the way through. I also had a 3-hour nap. I also worked. So to me, that was pretty impressive considering all of that. You were watching on Sky because you can. I didn't have Sky, but it was Channel 4, and I'm pretty sure they were using the F1 TV broadcast. Love the dedication, writing your own review after the race. Yes, I wrote down key moments. So tell me if I missed anything or if I got anything wrong. Bear in mind, these were meant to be personal notes. These are personal notes. So if things are spelt wrong, if things are written in the shortest hand possible, if things are written in the worst grammar, we're going with it. That's the vibe. So these are not to be shared, but we're sharing them because I thought, you know what, having it on the screen might make it useful for you to tell what's happened. If we're yapping, you can catch up, or if anyone joins, they can catch up on what's already been said. Personal honesty you make in public. Yeah, I got tons of stuff in here. You can find out all about my life if you just look close enough, then you'll be able to notice you'll be able to, like, I don't know, read my palm and see my future or something. You've done better than most just by writing it. Well, hold your horses, Delbo, you don't know that yet. Read between the lines, yes. Something about the way that I formatted the sentences, you know, like one of the letters in each of the lines, it actually tells you, I don't know, something about me. If you really, like, look for the right, you know, it's not the capitalized letters, but some of the letters in there, they do tell a story. Alright, let's get started. Okay, so obviously we start with the rain. We had a really, really lovely hot week. Everyone complaining, oh my god, it's so hot, I'm sweating, can we get some shade, Weekend hits, rain. Lots of people, especially I saw creators, Went to Silverstone this weekend. A lot of them complaining about the rain, just getting completely hammered by the rain. It really started to hit down, and then there were moments of the clouds being extremely dark, like there was going to be a massive storm, to kind of drying off. And already, this was my first watched race in the rain, so I was like, I'm excited, and it's the Home Grand Prix at Silverstone. If you don't know everything that I just said, Home Grand Prix, that one's straightforward. Grand Prix in Britain, Silverstone, so that's the name of the track, and it's a very classic track of the year. It's a very fast track, and it has some like interesting turns, but a lot of kind of swoopy lines where they can get up to really high speeds and then do these interesting turns. So if you like F1 or you're thinking about getting into F1, this is one to watch. I always knew that. Obviously, when I was younger, F1 was on TV and stuff, and this would come on every so often. I was very excited when I found out that there would be some weather interest. Although very funny, as I say, because such a hot week, such a sunny week. But then people told me in the Discord that this happens every year. Just like, I don't know this stuff, I don't know. Silverstone with the swoopy lines, yeah, I know that one. Do you know what I mean? So for me, my perspective of Silverstone is that there's loads of moments where you can just floor it. Because I play F1 25, so clearly I'm an expert. No, my understanding is that there's loads of lines where you can just absolutely floor it. You're going full speed, and then you're just doing these turns, but they're not the sharpest of turns. They're kind of turns that you can kind of still keep your foot either on the floor or pretty pushed on it still. But again, I've played F1 25, and you've seen my skill levels, so take that with a grain of salt. You can float around most tracks, Tev. Listen, you know what I'm talking about, and you're being contrarian. It's different. It's a high-speed track. If you're not flooring it, then you're not really driving fast. Hope that helps. Okay, so Silverstone's the exact same as all the other tracks, crabs, yeah? Would you say it's the same? No, you wouldn't. Give me this. Okay, so we have the rain was interesting, and the other thing was that the weather kept changing, and they wasn't sure when the rain was coming and when it was stopping and drying out. So in F1 that means, okay, so F1 is made up of all these different strategies. So you have different tyres that you use for different conditions. You have different cars from the different teams, and those can be better in some weathers and worse in other weathers. And that can expose like differences of like maybe this team's great in the dry and this team's great in the wet, etc. I don't know all of that and who that is, but I do know that's a thing. You then have strategies, and that will be decided by the team strategists, the team strategy people, the race engineers, who are the people on the radio to the drivers, and the drivers themselves have their input. So all of these things are happening at once about when they're going to go into the pits, when they're going to change their tyres, who knows what else. I'm a newbie. But that's all happening in the race, mixed with what cars are better at the weather, mixed with what drivers have the experience in the rain or just have that natural gift of the rain. And also, it's slidey, it's low vision, there's rain, so that's also just adding loads of conditions in at once. So it's very interesting. And then you have it's drying out, oh my god, should we change the tyres? It's getting wetter, should we change the tyres? You have to try and predict what's going to happen, but also not take too many risks. So there you go. So that's why it's really exciting if you don't know about the wet. Also, there's a little bit of danger there, which is thrilling and scary, and we don't want anyone to get hurt. So that adds something else to the weekend. Right after here, which probably shouldn't have been exposed yet, but there we go. Colapinto couldn't start the race. So Colapinto is one of the rookies. He couldn't start. I feel like F1 Kids found an engineer. Is that me? I don't even know what F1 Kids is. It's kids presenters basically for F1. Wait, that's cute. That is so cute. But yeah, I didn't know at the time, but one of the rookies meaning, because people have asked me this before, including my mum yesterday. A rookie is like the new people on this season, but they come from F2 and things like this, which is the level below F1. I don't really know how to phrase that. They do a very similar thing to F1, but they got different cars, different teams, etc, etc. They go a little bit slower, so it's kind of like a rank up when they come to F1. Their rookies is their first season, and they're all very young. The tier below, that's the wording, thank you. But yeah, I didn't actually know until a little bit later in the race. I was like, oh, what happened to Colapinto? And then I think they called out at one point they didn't start, and I was like, oh. So you're saying that he stalled, which caused the foul. Yeah, stalled it in second gear. Couldn't move, so Alpine saved him and retired him. Got it. Okay. So instantly straight off the bat, we had all of these conditions coming in with the weather, and we had one person not starting the race. What happened next? People sacrificing grid position for tyre change. Okay, so if you don't know, in F1, what happens at the start of the race is something called a formation lap. I'll give my perspective on why I think this happens, because I think it's interesting to share my perspective of why I think it happens, because I don't know 100%. So my perspective of what the formation lap is it's before the race starts, the whole grid will leave their position and go the whole way around the track and come back and get into, they have little squares they have to sit in, starting points they have to sit in depending on what position they're in the race, which is determined by qualifying. I think that's to warm their tyres and get the engines kind of started and do a quick check that all the cars are ready to go. That's what I think is happening. What usually I would expect to see, they all come back and they get in their positions and then lights out and away we go. But this time, loads of the drivers suddenly, before they came back to their position, pulled into the pit lane and were getting all their tyres changed. And that was because as they went around on the formation lap, they were communicating with their race engineers about the weather and what the track looked like, so how wet it was or in certain corners and spots and things like that. And some were deciding to change their tyres right then and there, and that saves pit time, so they don't have to start the race with the tyre that they've previously chosen. They've updated what tyre they're choosing. I was like, found this so interesting because I'm like, oh my god, already they're having to make a decision about losing their grid position, aka being further up the leaderboard for the start of the race and not having to do as many overtakes or changing their tyres. But that could also be to do with safety. It could be taking risks to try and go quicker. So instantly for the start of the race, they were taking these kind of big decisions, and I was like super excited by that. People started pressing the grid stop for slick tyres. Indeed. And then straight off the bat, lap 1, Liam Lawson goes off. So this is from the Racing Bulls team. I wrote down here Lando versus Hamilton karting line because this was a phrase used by one of the commentators, one of the casters. They used the word karting line, and it was basically, I think it was Lando and Hamilton going pretty much side by side. If you don't know, Lando's from McLaren, Hamilton's from Ferrari. It's quite funny because we've got like so many F1 experts in the chat, and then we have like a couple of people that don't watch F1 that much. But I think it's good to give my perspective anyway, because it gives something for both of you. Somewhere you can be like, what the hell is she yapping about? And the others can be like, oh, actually, maybe I learned something today. These are both British drivers at their home Grand Prix, and they were side by side, and I'm pretty sure it was Lando who, now I actually can't remember. One of them kind of was like trying to get past right on the curb kind of area, rather than being on the track, and I was like, it's getting tight, it's getting intense. They're really going for it straight off the bat. You look so proud and happy whilst explaining it. It's brilliant. Going on your head. Yeah, I'm so excited. I literally love F1 now, but also I'm super aware that I don't know everything. It's fun. The learning process is fun, and I kind of also wanted to share it because I can look back myself and see what I got wrong, what I got right. I've already watched the race 1.5 times. This is a moment in my life where I'm getting into F1. I watched my first full Grand Prix as an adult for Canada 2025, and then I watched Austria. I watched my home Grand Prix, and that one was so entertaining. That's why I'm here talking to you about it, but also I've already watched it a couple of times. This is gonna be one for the memory bank. Hamilton was trying to get past. Lando was on outside at Stowe. Okay, I know there's so many corner turn names and things. I don't know any of them, but yes, thank you. Learning's the best bit. Everything's a surprise. Yes, this was interesting. Straight off the bat, we have two like powerhouses. Hamilton is a mega star at this track. I grew up in England. I heard for years and years and years, Hamilton wins at Silverstone again, Hamilton wins this again, Hamilton this, Hamilton this, Hamilton this. Icon, legend in the game. And then you have Lando. For a few years now, a lot of my friends, a lot of just people in F1 generally in the UK have always said McLaren, Norris, McLaren, Norris. I've heard that for a few years. And last year it started to really become a thing. And this year, yeah, the car's amazing. He's doing great as with his partner. So like seeing these two go against each other at the home Grand Prix was like, straight off the bat, entertainment. 11 straight podium finishes, I do believe. Okay, thank you. Then we go on to just kind of general notes. Sliding going on. Sliding everyone's car, the back of their car as they're coming around the turns, even as they're going on the straights. There's slippage, there's sliding, it's starting to get interesting, there's movement happening. There's virtual safety cars. So safety cars, essentially, when the yellow flag is flown, I understand that to be the cars need to slow down. They can't overtake each other, they can't overtake the safety car. If there's an actual physical car that will go ahead, but sometimes there's a virtual safety car that is just, they kind of imagine there to be a car. They follow the leader at a certain pace, and I think they can't be accelerating and things like that. Is kind of just maintain a slow speed and don't accelerate and don't overtake each other. I would like to learn more about why it's virtual or real safety cars. So I'm guessing one reason would be depending on where the position is of the real safety car on the track, or I don't know if there's more than one safety car, I don't know, position around the track, but my guess would be depending on where the position is of the real safety car and depending on the weather conditions, whether it's safe to enter a new car on the track or necessary to enter a new car on the track. I don't really know, so I'd love to find out more about that. A section dedicated to sliding, it just gets better. If it gets upgraded from a double yellow, it's a virtual safety car have a safety car. Oh, because you get a yellow, double yellow, then the safety cars come in. As a non-F1 fan, it was funny seeing Max sliding off the podium. Listen, your girl's a Max fan, I gotta say. I have 4 drivers at the moment that I'm fans of. I won't get fully into it, it's in the Discord, but I'll say that now because I don't want people to have that perspective of what I've just said over the whole rest of everything that I say tonight, because I know there's some like deep rooted emotions in F1. But right now I'm quite enjoying watching Max, Oscar Piastri, and then lower down the grid I quite like Isaac Hadjar as the rookie and Alex Albon. If you're a little bit newer, that might be a little bit of like blah 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 blah. We'll talk about it a little bit later. How safe it is to get the car from where the marshals are normally dictates the tea of yellow flags. Okay. So then we had these safety cars going on. The reason I've just put virtual safety car is because there were tons of safety car moments, whether it was a real car or a virtual safety car. That means the race was constantly slowing down. And you might think that's boring. I for sure wasn't bored. I don't know about you guys, but I for sure wasn't bored. I was like, oh my god, something's happened again. Oh my god, this. Oh my god, that. And of course it keeps some drivers safe and it allows them to get out of the way. I was fascinated. I was hooked the moment of when they're gonna go. I was fascinated. I was entertained. Using safety cars to pit. Another thing that they do is so pitting, if you don't know what that is, it's going into the pit lane and your team can change your tires, etc. like that. Again, that's a strategy thing depending on the weather, depending on what they think their driver is capable of, the car's capable of. You can pit when there's a safety car, and that will save you lots of time, because if you're racing and you go into the pit, you're sacrificing your time to make that judgment of the tyre might wear out, or I need to change tyre, or strategy. It might be worth it, it might not be worth it. But if you have a safety car, you can kind of say, well, I'm going to go slow anyway, I'm going to be stuck behind all these cars until the race begins, we don't know how long the safety car's going to be, so then you have cars going into pit and save that time. At the same time though, you might be stuck on behind a safety car for a while. Maybe you're wasting the wear on the tyre and things like that. So for me, watching, I was like trying to watch and see what would happen, who would make that choice, and it was interesting. I liked it. I was like fascinated by it, having a number of safety cars. As I'm saying, because of the weather, there being that number of safety cars, it meant people flying in and out of the pits quite a lot. There were a lot of pit moments and tyre changes in that race. It felt like there was always something happening. When a safety car comes out, you balance having track position with older tyres or getting on fresh tyres, but risk losing track position. Yes, exactly. Who's kind of got that experience with the weather as well? That plays a big part in it. But on lap 3, Antonelli, so if you don't know Antonelli, he's a rookie in the Mercedes team. Massive, mega team. A rookie coming in. Hard tyres on. Slide. What this means is, the reason I wrote this down was because instantly he got those tyres on, and then he's coming around the turn, and I just saw this slide, and I was like, I thought that was a risk and a half, because this is a rookie, so he hasn't had much experience in that F1 car. So when I was watching it, I was like, I wanted to see what would happen. Of course I want them to be safe. The cars are pretty safe these days, and I hope they don't put their drivers at too much risk. But yeah, seeing him instantly slide, I was thinking, oh my god, I hope the best for him, wish him luck. But you can kind of see how slippy the track was at that point. Working hard, he was doing a great job. But yeah, I was like, wow, it's happening, so much is happening, and I was excited. Then we have Bortoleto out. I think it was around lap 4, so I've put it here. Bortoleto, another rookie out. The second rookie that's gone out, because we had Liam Lawson at the start. I don't even know exactly what happened to him, but he was in the kick. And then I've put afterwards and continued driving briefly. Fine, because the casters were talking about how he was continuing a bit, and I think a bit of his rear wing fell off. Not like a hefty crash, but compared to the other things which were more kind of like sliding off or whatever else, this was the time where it's like, oh yeah, he had some damage there for sure. So then it was a question of, will he get a fine? Will he get something wrong because you're not meant to move the car when you have like damage that could impede the other drivers or get in the way of the track and stuff like that? Again, all new stuff that to me that I'm learning. At that point I was like, oof. Second crash kind of happened out of the way, and then it was shown to us. We continued driving to get the car into a safe position for the marshals to try and get into the pits. So what happens next? We have lap 5, Max sliding with Oscar behind. This moment was like oof to me, because so you had Max finish P1 for qualifying, so he was at the start of the race. Then you had Oscar and Lando, I think. It was pretty obvious at one point Oscar was going to get past him. I mean, that's what everyone thought, and we knew it was going to happen from my point of view anyway. Maybe I shouldn't say everyone, but that's what I thought was going to happen. That was pretty certain. But still, Max was trying to go for it, and seeing him slipping and sliding a little bit while Oscar was like right on his tail was a good fun. I was like, hell yeah. But Verstappen, oh, Come on, give him a break, give him a break. And then I put Oscar overtook in front of the Lando stand. So this year at the Silverstone track, they had this big stand called the Lando stand. Lando, again, is one of the drivers, and it was all covered in his logo and his lime green colour. And I'm pretty sure Oscar, who drives for the same team as Lando, again, Lando is a British driver in a British team, so it kind of makes sense, overtook just outside of the Lando stand. I think it was just past it, and I was like, woo! These fans are gonna go crazy. I'm super excited for McLaren. But then I think the same thing happened later on in the race when Lando also got past Max. Pretty awesome race. Watched Max on board with Brady the whole race. Really? You watched it a second time too? See, I started watching it a second time, but then I got 30 minutes in and I was like, oh, I should have watched some people with radio. At points I wanted to see what Piastri was saying, and I also wanted to see what Stroll was saying, if anything. I don't know, but I only flicked it sometimes with radio. I think I still will do that, to be honest. One thing that I had to write down was the casters called it biblical rain. At one point the rain was hammering it down so hard you could just see the drivers coming through this wall of white, so you had all of this like splash up. I was thinking of spray, but I suppose aquaplaning was happening. It was kind of biblical, and I just thought I had to write that down because I was like, that is such a good phrase. I think they've said it before. I'm sure I've heard it in F1 actually quite a lot, but I had to write it down. I was like, that's a perfect phrase, because you just saw these mega fast cars coming through this wall of white, one after the other, and you only just saw the start of the car, then you saw their helmet, then the next one, and it was like it was scary. The rain really started to pick up at this point. And then I wrote Stroll going up and up. This was when I was like, hold on now. Stroll P5, Stroll P4, etc, etc. So if you don't know Lance Stroll is essentially, he's a driver for Aston Martin, and he's known mainly for his father being a billionaire and paying a lot of money or owning parts of the teams, something like this. He gets a lot of hate, right? But when I watched him yesterday, it was like Jesus Christ reincarnated, bro. He was going up and up and up. He started at the bottom of the track, which is quite expected for him, from my understanding. Next thing you know, he's on like P4, position 4 if you don't know. And I was like, hold on, is that my guy Stroll, the one that everyone hates and disrespects, doing absolutely amazing in terrible conditions? At points they were terrible conditions, and he was right up there. I didn't really see him sliding too much. He seems really calm and in control, and I was like, hold on, this guy's chatting right now. This guy is aura farming. That is crazy impressive. I love to see that, to be honest. And that's why I just felt like there was entertainment. In every step of the way there was entertainment. What we have next is, oh, also this is the Canadian. So we seem to have lots of Canadians we're building in the community. So up Canada. There we go, there's your chance. Next we have anger to engineers. This was kind of a lot of different things, and I've called it anger to engineers, or at least frustration, or some kind of things coming over the radio. Like I said, racers can talk to their engineers using a button on their what's this called? Wheel, steering wheel. The race engineers, they can talk back to them and give them necessary information, ask them questions. Each driver has a race engineer assigned to them from the team, so each driver from the team will have someone else speaking to them. At one point, Charles Leclerc went off of the road. Charles Leclerc drives for Ferrari, so one of the big boys, but not doing as well this year. Going to really have so much F1, honestly. Next thing you know, you see him kind of just flying off of the track onto the grass or gravel or something. I think it was the gravel. It was all like coming up in front of his car, and I was like, what's going on now? He goes over to the radio saying he can't see anything. A big splash of water came in and went in his visor, and I was like, well, that doesn't seem too good with these conditions. Charles Leclerc's quality radio message was jokes, to be fair, as well as the visor race. Wait, I don't know about that one. Another thing I wrote under anger to engineers was at some point Fernando Alonso. This is also a driver for Aston Martin, so teammate of Stroll, but not doing as well as Stroll by any means in this race. I'm pretty sure most people would view as, let's just say, less successful than Alonso. Alonso has been in the game many, many years, very experienced, very successful, and he wasn't doing as well. And he said over the radio, in my paraphrased way, people passing us, are they on better tyres, or are we losing places for fun? They reported back that one of the drivers in front of them had worse tyres, and he said, crazy how you never get it right with me, which is him calling out his team, but also kind of like shade, if you ask me. Yeah, it was Ocon with the worst tyres. Shade, if you ask me, that he's saying they get it right with Stroll, perhaps? I don't know. I thought, okay, go off, Alonso, go off. At some point later, Hadjar has gone off. So this is Isaac Hadjar. He is the French rookie for Racing Bulls. This is my guy. This is one of my favourites. Probably the biggest crash of the day. And next thing you know, you saw his car just pushed up against a corner with his tyres just off. And I was like, Hell no, bro, that's my guy. Is he okay? And he come through the radio saying, I'm okay. So he was all good. At this point, the rain was torrential. It was like looking pretty bad. There was low visibility. They showed the playback. I think it was right after a safety car release. When there's a safety car, at some point the race has to get going again, and all the cars started to speed up. You had all this kind of splash back coming up in front of all of the cars, plus mixed with the rain pouring down. A lot of them were behind, one after the other, behind each other, had such low visibility, couldn't see who was in front. All of a sudden, Antonelli, another rookie, came up out of nowhere, as Hajar described, saw the lights at the back of his car, and by that point, too late. Hajar's into the back of him. Hajar's basically spun and had a massive crash. Antonelli kept it alive, I've called it. Antonelli's a rookie driver, and he managed to keep it on the track after he got rammed in the back by Hajar. So I was like, that's pretty impressive. We have to call that out, because being actually hit in the back while it's raining, he also himself had low visibility, and he would have been sliding. Show up, King. Eventually he was out, so yeah, I actually don't know what happened to him, but I think it's because of the damage he sustained. That was my perspective of the sitch. Piastri, safety car struggling. So this refers to the moment Piastri, Oscar Piastri, the race lead, the championship leader, playing for McLaren, this is Oscar Piastri. He is at the front of the safety car queue, again safety car, and he said the safety car is struggling, let alone them and their F1 cars, and he was going to struggle to start off the track on high speed again. I think the caster said that was a message to like the race directors or something, saying that it was unsafe to start race. Is that what was happening? So was he trying to say don't let the safety car start, or he's not going to start the race yet? He's not going to start accelerating. Whether it was the safety car to not let the race restart, or whether he was saying he's not going to let the race restart when he gets his chance. Incident where Piastri slows down, Max went far. Exaggerate. Okay, so what am I referring to here? This is the moment of the race. So if you haven't seen it, I'm pretty sure this is the moment of the race. Other than Hulkenberg getting P3, this was the main other moment. Okay, so here we go. There's the whole thing. From here to here is what we're referring to. As you can see, it's the moment of the race. So in order of the events of how I witnessed them, Piastri at the start of the safety car, it is his chance to restart the race whenever he wants to. Every other car must stay behind him. No car can overtake. Piastri seems to come to quite a slow speed all of a sudden, and you just kind of see Max passing him. And I was like, hold on. This doesn't look right. What's going on here? Over the broadcast, they said that Max was exaggerating to show something. And then you hear Max coming through angry, talking about how much Piastri slowed down. Angry Max. I mean, not too uncommon, but there we go. Soon after this moment, you see Max spin out and he goes from P2 right down. That was unfortunate. The people in Discord said that was because Piastri's intentions was to cool down the tyres of the people behind him. And I think the caster said to bunch up the rest of the drivers, which I assume is so that they can't get a good acceleration, because they got to be really cautious of who's around them. And then Max spins out in like the next turn or something like that. Angry Max, and Max spins P2 to P10, and then they come back on and show the moment of Oscar to really understand what was happening. In my perspective, from what I understood, was he kind of has this little moment of acceleration. Max seems to be coming up behind him. Max might have interpreted him as restarting the race. Oscar slows down and you can kind of hear his engine getting quieter, right, lulling out as he's not accelerating anymore. And at that point, Max passes him. This is what I wrote. I do think it's dangerous in the weather conditions, but again, I'm new, it's all dangerous, they all have amazing reflexes. So this is my point, saying here that if I was driving behind Oscar, I would be scared, right? If he accelerated and broke, I would have been scared to be behind him. At the same time, all the casters were saying he exaggerated, people in the chat were saying he exaggerated. Probably did. I don't know to what extent Max was actually struggling there, and they do all have amazing reflexes, they're the best in the business. So I have called out both things are true. What's your opinion? Well, it's dangerous, hence the penalty. Well, I mean, the penalty exists for a reason, regardless. We're talking here about the fact that later, Oscar gets a penalty, and that comes through as a 10-second penalty. I think they said that it was communicated recently what all the penalties would be, and there was some conversation about whether it should have been a 5-second or a 10-second penalty, and I think the general consensus is that it's a very high penalty. I would say so, but again, I don't really know that much. But if I was to just give you my perspective right here and now, I would say so. But at the same time, I do think the penalty should have happened. I do think a penalty should have happened. There you go, that's my perspective. I said here an incident because it's erratic and unpredictable. I don't know if unpredictable is the right word, because you don't have to be predictable in F1. Maybe erratic is the right word, if I spelled that right. Kind of causing unnecessary risk to those around here. There you go. It's not harsh if Max smashes into him. Yeah, but it's the question of, was he going to smash into him? How much did Max try to brake? Later, you hear angry Piastri coming over the radio and demanding the advantage over Lando. So I don't know when this happened, because I remember it happening, but I didn't get to that point yet when I was rewatching. I think it happens actually a while after he gets told about the penalty happening. I did think I had to call it out. Of course, cool, calm, collected. Piastri wanted advantage, and I do know people have different opinions on this. Some people are a little bit less happy with Piastri for doing this and thinking, why is he doing it? It's not Lando's fault. But I think, you know, like, they're racing, they're always trying to get ahead of their teammates. They're known to try to race each other and go against each other, and it's supported, especially McLaren. They're competitive and they're doing what they love. So I remember, be reasonable with your judgments on them. It kind of hurts my soul when people say, oh, I was a fan of Piastri and now I'm not. I don't know if we need to do all that. I was very desperate from Piastri to ask what we did from Lando. Yes, maybe he wasn't fully in logical thinking, who knows. But anyway, my favourite moment of all of this is that Stroll was theoretically in second. So at that point, technically, Piastri got a 10-second penalty, and then you obviously had Lando, and then right behind that you had Stroll, and he was within 9 point something seconds. So at this point, Stroll hit P2 in the race, and I was like, oh my god, that was when I was like, oh no, what's going on here? I need to celebrate, because I don't know what's going on. I have a thing for people that, like, I hated, as you can tell, Max and Stroll. So I'm like, bro, if you hate them, no, I'm coming in to defend them. So also have a theory. The fact that people say Stroll is good in the wet, I think, is why he's good at the wet. Obviously that's not true, but I think that plays a part in his success in the wet conditions, because he's told his trash, right? He's told his trash all the time. I knew that as an immediate entry into F1. As soon as I started playing the game, everyone said that to me. So being told you're bad over and over and over again, we all have experienced struggling with the pressure, the eyes, the expectation of failure. Also, you don't have that much pressure to do well when everyone already expects that you're going to do badly. But being told you're good at something, I think that has to have that extra boost to try hard, because he knows there's potential. He knows people think they have the potential. It has that boost of confidence, you know? Is there any positive feedback he gets? I think, guys, I'm theorizing, if you start giving him positive reinforcement on the dry, it could be his season next year. Listen, I'm calling it prediction. Like, they need me on the team. Give me an Aston Martin and I will give him the most positive reinforcement in the world. Listen, I've seen the videos of him with that kid asking what's his favourite meal, what's his favourite drink, whatever the hell else. They just need me there, bro. I'm telling you. I will not take any more slander against Stroll. Okay, maybe I'm not gonna take that responsibility, because it's a lot, and I don't think I can literally survive with that kind of responsibility. But anyway, expecting failure is better than failing expectations. Better than failing expectations, yes, but expecting failure, not always good, no. And that's why you see a lot of them say they think they're the best, and you have to think you're the best, or you think you could win it. And I heard someone recently in real life in a separate scenario say the phrase, going into something you should assume you're good at it. And I'd never actually heard someone say that before. I don't know if I fully agree with it, but it definitely has its place. And I can definitely see how, on the whole, that would have such a positive impact on you. So it's just always assuming expecting failure. I don't know if that is that great in terms of performing at the best in the world. If you go in thinking you're good, you have that boost of confidence and bravery and risk taking, etc., etc. That's why I think he does well in the wet. Well, and his skill, but yeah, just saying. Psychology is massively important. Side note, because it is Heaven's Stream. Side note, did you know that parents would rather pay £1 every time they're late to pick up their child from school than take the guilt of being late to pick up their child from school? So they found that people would voluntarily choose to pay £1 every time they were late. The reason they would pay that £1 because then they feel like they've paid the debt. They've paid the debt of being late. Versus if they don't pay any money, they just have that constant weight. They have no way of paying off that debt of being late. So psychology has a massive impact on performance and how you perceive yourself and how you do. So more so than financial penalties. Just saying. Ollie Behrman spins and goes across the grass. He's clipped by Tsunoda at the end of lap 22. I wrote that down. Honestly, there was a few things going on with Behrman, Haas, Tsunoda. I don't exactly know everything that happened. I wrote this down, so clearly this must have happened. But at the same time, I don't know. Like, I don't know, but at one point he was going across the grass, I do know that. Ollie Bearman, another rookie, by the way, the British rookie. Antonelli boxes, so this is the time Antonelli is out of the race. Like I said earlier, I don't know exactly what was happening with Antonelli. I'm guessing it was the damage from the earlier incident with Hajar hitting him, but maybe wrong there. At this point, we have, out of the rookies, we have Colapinto is out just straight away because he didn't start the race. Lawson is out lap 1. Bortoleto is out within like the first 5 laps. Then we have Hajar out from his big crash with Antonelli, and then Antonelli out. So I think, right, there's 6 rookies. And then we have Ollie Bearman is the last one left, I think, and he is British and it's on his own Grand Prix. So I was kind of thinking like, he is not going to want to go out. He's going to try hard. Hamilton slide and side road. Okay, so this is where he comes in with my personal notes. I do not know what I'm saying, but I'm trying my best. I don't know when this happened. I remember seeing Hamilton sliding around a bit and it was getting a bit like because he's experienced, and then at one point he goes like off the road onto the side road. I don't know, what is it called? You have like the track, and then the parts of the track you have, it's like extra track, but it's not the track. An escape road runoff, and he has the opportunity to go off on it by accident, but he can use it. And then we have DRS enabled. Again, DRS is when you can open up the wing to become more aerodynamic. It can be used at certain points. The driver has control of when they can press the button, but they can only get it when they're within 1 second of the car ahead. So up until now, I think DRS had been not allowed because of the conditions, because of the rain, because of the slippery road, etc, etc. But it started to dry up. There wasn't rain, and the road was slowly getting drier. It didn't really dry out because I think there was just so much rain at one point. But yeah, then DRS becomes enabled. It doesn't increase aerodynamics, so what does it do? It reduces drag reduction. Do you mean it reduces drag? It reduces drag reduction, so it increases drag? It does the opposite. So how does that help? Wait, so when they put DRS on, they get less aerodynamic? Open up the wing, it decreases drag. It does reduce drag. Oh my god, okay. You guys confused the hell out of me. I was thinking, how on earth are they going quicker? Like, with the drag downforce thing, you might have taught me something then, but if that's not right, then we can scrap that. DRS increases aerodynamic. Also, I was thinking just by physics, that's why I got so confused by what you were saying, because by physics, you're opening the wing. So if you're wondering, at the back of the car, you have this wing. Let's say it's like this, right? Here's the wing. And then at one point, they can press the button and they can go, whoop, and the wing opens. Oh, it's like that, I feel like it's like that. Is that a good visualization? I am a newbie, to be honest. I've only seen it like once or twice. The car at the back has this wing, and they press DRS button, and the wing opens like, whoop, and then there's a gap. So I was thinking, yes, there's now more aerodynamic. There's more airflow coming through. There's less air being blocked. More air flowing through and sliding across can make the car more aerodynamic, we've discovered. The car can go faster, but they can only use that when they're within 1 second of the car behind, and when DRS is enabled, which is normally after lap 1. But in this case, it was enabled late into the race because of the conditions and the danger, the risk of the weather. And at that point, Nico Hülkenberg was right behind Lance Stroll, and behind him was Lewis bloody Hamilton. So it was exciting, but pretty much as soon as DRS comes into play, Nico obviously had been behind Lance for a while now, so he goes fast pretty much immediately. Hamilton gets by as well, like that's pretty obvious. If Nico was getting past Stroll, Hamilton was getting past Stroll. I was sad. I was happy for Nico, but I was like, no, the Lance era is over. He's not going back from this. Then you had Nico with Hamilton chasing his tail for like a good while. At this point, Mercedes is communicating with George Russell. George asks them what strategy they want to go for at this point, because George wasn't doing too well. I think he was out of the top 10. He might have been like 14th or something. Mercedes say the phrase, they want to be brave but not suicidal. Anyway, what happens next is Fernando Alonso of Aston Martin goes on to mediums. I've called him an experienced driver. So from my perspective, I was fascinated. I was like, okay, so Alonso's gonna go on to the mediums, I think it was. That's interesting. As an experienced driver, he might be able to cope with the track being slippery on the mediums. We'll see what happens. Fascinated. Russell decides to change tyres, even though we had this message. Goes to hards, I think it was. Both of them have a little bit of a slip, Alonso and Russell. George seemed to slip immediately, which I also noticed Antonelli had done at the start of the race, part of the same team with the hard tyres. Not long after that, you have George spinning quite a few times. Like, there was a good amount of spinning there. That was one of my, like, top moments of the race, because he was, like, spinning, and flying across the grass. But respect on him. He got it straight back on the right line and off the road. And I was like, hold on, how did he do that? Like, can we talk about how well he did that? Because that was pretty impressive. No one's used the word slip. Surely they've used the word slip. Why have you got such elitism in the community, bro? I can't use the word slip now. Max goes off the main track, so similar thing to what happened to Lewis with the runoff roads. Max goes off at one point, and you can see him start crawling back up the ranks. So that was exciting to see what point he would get to. You don't know if slip is the word. What, slide? Can you use slip in non-foot contexts? This is what I was saying with all of the rookies out other than Ollie Behrman. A Behrman incident being investigated? I don't know, like I said, there were a few like Haas, Behrman, Tsunoda incidents going on. I kind of got lost with them, but there was apparently an incident being investigated at this point. Haas hit each other, so Ollie Behrman is part of Haas. Who's the other Haas driver? Ocon. And they hit each other. They do a little spin around like a perfect pirouette, perfectly in sync. Beautiful, astounding. Would love to see it again. And then Yuki gets a penalty for hitting and spinning Behrman. Yuki is part of Red Bull. Things are not going great for Behrman at this point, as you can see. We need some chat GPT on skidding versus sliding versus slipping. Then we come to the end of the race, and what I've got is all of my interesting parts about what I found about the end of the race. It was a home win for the driver and the team. We have Lando Norris winning and McLaren, British team. With the Lando stands, I also thought it was great because he had the Lando stand at the Silverstone track. Like I said earlier, this is specifically a stand full of Lando Norris fans, so I thought that was great for him to experience that moment. There's lots of passion, there's lots of emotion. You have Hulkenberg, first podium ever, so he again experienced driver. What was it, his 239th race or 239th start, they said. Might got that wrong, but his first podium, so everyone was pretty excited. Obviously I'm a new fan, so I don't want to pretend I've been sitting here waiting for him to get a podium for years and years and years, but regardless of that, the story, very beautiful, lovely, very exciting. Well done to him. And he did it in a kick and a Sauber. That was good because that car has also been known to not be so good in the last few seasons, as I've been told as soon as I joined the team. Guys, I'd like to announce that I am joining Kick Sauber for 2026. As soon as I started playing F1 24, it was pretty much told to me Stroll is not very good and Kick Sauber is the worst team. So that's what was pretty much drilled into me from the get-go. So I don't know, this year things are going better, and him getting podium, so P3 in the Kick Sauber, very impressive. And he also did it from P19, so he started right at the back. There's 20 drivers in F1, but at the same time, Colapinto didn't start, so he was essentially the end of the race, and he got a podium, so very, very impressive. And then you had Piastri not being very happy. In the, is it pre-podium? Around the time of the race ending, he said essentially he won't speak or won't say anything or won't speak on it because he will get in trouble. And he said that twice, at least twice, when I was watching. And I thought that was very interesting because we all know Oscar to be the humble, quiet, reserved, emotions in check, not giving anything away, not smiling king that he is. And I thought, yes, he is not very happy. And my mum was cracking up at this point because Oscar looked pissed, to say the least, which is understandable. Human emotions, he's fighting very hard, he's driving very well, and he got a 10-second penalty, so he didn't look happy whatsoever. Just wanted to call that out because that was like quite telling. And also to call out, both Williams finished, including their team being at our home track. And I wanted to call this out, I've watched the last couple of races and it seemed to me like Williams were always out. Like, that might not be exactly accurate, but it always felt like Alex Albon wasn't happy about something, talking to his race engineer, and they were out. So I just wanted to say, well done. They both finished the race at Silverstone. I mean, Alex Albon, he represents Thailand, but he also was born in London, so him being at Silverstone, and then Williams as well, a classic team in GB. Pretty excited. I had to call that out as a kind of a moment that people didn't talk about, but I was like, there we go. And overall, great race. I asked on Instagram what people thought of it. I think 20 people responded and they said it was a good race. Maybe I'll start doing this more. There we go. Oh, this is kind of stupid. Hold on, wait. You can't even tell. Okay, so on Instagram I asked what did you guys rate the British Grand Prix? And 20 people answered, and you can't tell, but essentially it's like 70, it's like 80-90% of the way. I think it was a very, very well liked race, and if you haven't seen it, if you don't watch F1, if there was a race to watch this season, watch this one. It had very, very good ratings. I've just done a whole speech about it because I thought it was amazing, and I hope I taught you something new. If you are new to F1 or learning, or a new fan just like me, if you already know a lot about F1, I hope I didn't butcher it too much, and maybe it was enjoyable see my perspective, and I kind of hope I got like fairly on the nose for some of it. So let me know what you think about my rendition. People liked it. Go and watch it if you haven't already watched it. If you've already watched it, watch it again. Do it. I'm going to finish watching my second watch of it, and I also want to see some of the drivers. I want to hear Lance Stroll talking, to be honest. I don't know if he talks much on the radio again. Who knows? But yeah, I'm excited. And yeah, there was lots of chatting in the Discord, and we have a new kind of setup for where we can talk about F1 and motorsport in general, and a place where you can put your favourite drivers. So yeah, go and get involved over there. Thanks, Yadsin. It's his notebook. Yes, it is. Bro, we had the practice this week being at the Williams fan zone, and now yeah, we're going crazy. Genuinely, it is my notebook. For my personal notes and how I wrote it. I had a good time. I really loved it. Like, I'm not joking, I really loved it. I've even got my Williams picture in. I'm all in, guys. I'm all in. A great presentation. Thank you, Hi-Fi. I just want to listen to it at 3 AM when I can't sleep. A-star for F1 delivery. Hats off to you. Thanks, Tomo. Good podcast. Thank you. That was the British Grand Prix from my perspective and my reaction and my key moments that I thought were worth talking about. The bits that I found the most entertaining and interesting, risky, fascinating, an insight into what moments I thought the drivers themselves found intense, and overall amazing Grand Prix. Would watch again, have watched again, want to watch everything about it again. Had a great time. I hope you all had a lovely weekend watching it and enjoying.